It's loud out there. Everyone's shouting. Opinions fly like arrows. And somewhere between the scroll, the chaos, and the pressure to react, we've forgotten how to think. Not just react, not just consume, but actually think. Philosophers, ancient and modern, weren't just thinkers. They were mental warriors. Calm, clear, deeply intentional. And in today's noisy world, their mindset isn't optional. It's essential. Philosophers begin with one act. They pause, not to avoid action, but to make sure it's the right one. Socrates once said, "An unexamined life is not worth living." But in 2025, most lives are unexamined because they're uninterrupted. Phone, notification, swipe, scroll, repeat. Thinking like a philosopher means stepping back, long enough to ask better questions. Not what's trending, but what matters? What's true? What am I really responsible for? You don't need more information. You need more wisdom. Information tells you what's happening. Wisdom helps you interpret it. Philosophy helps you sift truth from noise. In the age of AI and instant data, wisdom is rarer than ever. But here's the truth. A calm mind is not a slow one. It's a sharp one that doesn't waste energy. One of the oldest practices of philosophical thinking was inner dialogue, a mental conversation with your higher self. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, wrote to himself in his journal every morning. What? To remind himself what he stands for, what's in his control, what kind of man he refuses to become. You can do the same. Ask yourself, is this reaction worthy of me? Will this matter a year from now? What does the wiser version of me see that I don't? This is not self-talk. This is self-leadership. There's a story of a Zen master who was asked, "What is the secret to wisdom?" He simply poured tea into a cup and kept pouring until it overflowed. The student shouted, "Stop! It's full." The master smiled. "Exactly. How can I teach you anything when your mind is already full?" Philosophical thinking begins by emptying the noise. Not knowing more, knowing less better. Philosophers don't chase being right. They chase truth. That means they're willing to be wrong. Willing to change their mind. Willing to say, "I don't know enough yet." In a world obsessed with opinions, thinking like a philosopher means replacing arrogance with inquiry, replacing certainty with curiosity, and in doing so, gaining something more valuable than approval: integrity. Stoics practiced what they called the discipline of assent, the power to choose which thoughts are allowed in. Someone insults you? You don't need to accept it. News feels overwhelming? You don't need to internalize it. Thinking like a philosopher means filtering the world through intentional attention. You become the gatekeeper of your inner world. Not everything gets in. Not every voice deserves your reaction. Most people ask shallow questions. Why is this happening to me? The philosopher asks, what does this moment require of me? Most people ask, how can I win? The philosopher asks, what is the right thing to do, even if no one's watching? Big minds ask big questions, and the size of your questions determines the depth of your peace. Philosophers aren't just thinkers, they're doers. Seneca wrote, philosophy teaches us to act, not to speak. When you understand the truth, live it. If you believe calm is better than rage, practice calm in traffic. If you believe kindness is strength, practice it with people who don't deserve it. Otherwise, your beliefs are just decoration. Philosophy turns them into discipline. You don't need to be a monk, but you do need moments of stillness. Silence in the morning, reflection before you sleep, a walk without your phone, a question written in your journal, not Google. Protect your thinking time. In a world of reactions, create space for reflection. Here's the question philosophers ask more than any other. Who am I becoming? Not what do I have? Not what do people think of me? But what kind of person is emerging from my thoughts, my habits, my reactions? That question alone can redirect your life. You don't need to be ancient to think like a philosopher. You just need to be awake. In a world addicted to noise, you must become addicted to clarity. And clarity isn't found in volume. It's found in stillness, in courage, in depth. So the next time the world screams at you to react, pause, breathe, think like a philosopher. And when you do, you'll find that while the world stays noisy, you remain unshaken. What's one philosophical question that's helped you grow? Drop it in the comments. Let's think deeply together. And if this sparked clarity in you, subscribe for weekly videos on timeless wisdom in a modern world.